We're going to begin with Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York. Tabloid publisher David Pecker was back on the stand Tuesday talking about how he used the National Enquirer to help Trump's campaign, and we are awaiting decision from the judge on whether to hold Trump in contempt for violating the gag order. Aaron Katersky is outside the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
George, good morning to you. The trial is not in session on Wednesdays, but the jurors have plenty of tabloid tales to contemplate as they prepare to return here tomorrow.
It was August 2015 when former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker said he was summoned to Trump Tower. Donald Trump had announced his candidacy, and Pecker testified, "Trump and Michael Cohen asked me what can I do and what my magazines could do to help the campaign." Pecker said the three men hatched a confidential agreement. The National Enquirer would publish positive stories about Trump and negative stories about his opponents. He said Cohen would send me information about Ted Cruz or Ben Carson or Marco Rubio, and that was the basis for our story, and we would embellish. Trump amplified one story attempting to link Cruz's father to the Kennedy assassination.
What was he doing with Lee Harvey Oswald shortly before the death, before the shooting? It's horrible.
Pecker testified the National Enquirer created the story by claiming to match photos of Cruz's father with pictures of Lee Harvey Oswald. But that wasn't all. Pecker said he told Trump, "I will be your eyes and ears," agreeing to purchase damaging stories so they would not get published. That includes a $30,000 payment to a Trump World Tower doorman who was shopping an unfounded claim Trump fathered a child out of wedlock, which he denied. The doorman, Dino Sejudan, spoke with GMA in 2018.
Did you believe they were paying you to pursue the story or to kill the story?
Oh, initially I thought there was really, the Enquirer report stories, so I figured, they wanted to report the story. That's what I thought. But now as I look back on things, it made sense to me. It makes sense to me more so that they were just pretty much trying to quiet me down.
As Pecker recounted the doorman's claim, Trump silently shook his head. After court, Trump complained about the limited gag order meant to prevent him from verbally attacking witnesses.
We have a gag order, which to me is totally unconstitutional. I'm not allowed to talk, but people are allowed to talk about me.
Prosecutors accused Trump of repeatedly violating the gag order, and they said it's posing a real threat to the trial. When the defense insisted Trump is complying, the judge interjected, "You are losing all credibility."
And we're waiting for the judge to decide whether to hold Trump in contempt. Prosecutors said, George, it's almost as if Trump is angling for the judge to throw him in jail. And law enforcement sources are telling ABC News now the U.S. Secret Service is actually preparing for that possibility. George?
Hard to even contemplate. Okay, Aaron, thanks very much. This being our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. How did Pecker do?
I think he did pretty well for the prosecution. He lays the foundation for the key to the prosecution's case, which is that the falsification of the business records was about something else. And the something else was to protect him in the 2016 campaign. Pecker making the point that he had never done one of these catch and kill deals before the 2015 point, when Michael Cohen and Donald Trump are meeting with him and talking about how to deal with potentially negative stories. That's all very powerful and helpful for them on that critical legal question.
How about any openings for the defense in his testimony?
At the very end, he says that when it came to Karen McDougal, who was a Playboy model who he's alleged to have had an affair with, and where they paid $150,000, he apparently said to David Pecker, "I don't buy stories." And so that is something that certainly the defense is going to focus on, to say, wait a second, didn't you say that Donald Trump doesn't buy stories? Now, Pecker may say they ended up changing their mind. They ended up changing their minds. But from the defense perspective, they're going to try and focus on Michael Cohen being the decision maker here and not Donald Trump.
We haven't heard from the judge yet on holding Donald Trump in contempt, but boy, it was a brutal hearing for his lawyers. It was because the question kept coming up, exactly what is it that Donald Trump is responding to? They kept saying he's responding. To what? To what? And look, I think in the end here, for now, he's going to get a slap on the wrist and a very firm warning that says— No fine?
Yeah, fines, okay, but I view that as, at this point, a slap on the wrist for Donald Trump. Does he care if he gets a $1,000 fine? I don't think so. What he cares about is the possibility of something more than that. I don't think that's going to happen.
He doesn't want to go to jail, does he?
I don't know. You'd have to tell me politically, for one night, how valuable could that be to Donald Trump?
I think it'd be crazy.
But okay, no. I mean, seriously. I don't think it's going to happen. It's certainly, I don't think, going to happen in the context of a gag order here, right? The notion that sending him to jail over the gag order just seems to me very far-fetched. But we'll see what he does after whatever the judge's ruling is.
Dan Abrams, thanks.